boxing. All right, so I'm gonna talk about a few things. I'm gonna talk about something Canelo said. I'm gonna talk about the continuing Errol Spence, Bud Crawford saga. You know, the fight that seems like it's not ever going to happen. And then I'm gonna talk about Charlo and David Benavidez and some other stuff. You know, some other stuff that's coming up. You know. Oh yeah. By the way, I'm about to cook that bitch, Michael Montero, because I'm so sick of him. That dude is a flat out racist. Now, before anybody watches the video or go come on the video and say, well, I don't think Michael Montero's a racist. Why do you think he's a racist? Look, I'm not even dealing with y'all as far as that go. Anybody that say that, I'm just going to block your ass. And if you say, oh, so I can't have a difference of opinion. Nope, not when it comes to that. I'm not even trying to hear that. I'm not trying to hear that shit. I'm not going to let nobody try to come on here, patronize me, and think they can, you know, try to second guess me and try to tell me, oh, he's not racist because I'm white and I say so. Fuck y'all. How's that? Now, like I said, with that being said, okay, let's begin. All right, so I saw Canelo Alvarez. Oh my God. Hold on. Sorry about that. All right, so now I'm back. Had to, you know, old lady called. I don't know why she called when I was doing the stream. I don't know. It's like she has the worst timing. But nevertheless, let's just get back to business. Now, with that being said, let's just talk about something Canelo said. Now, Canelo was on Hot Boxing. Now, I already said this before about Canelo Alvarez. I already said this. Said this a few times. What's going on? I said this before about Canelo Alvarez, and now people gonna say you was right, which I knew anyway. Canelo was on Hot Boxing. Oh, and by the way, Canelo can speak English pretty damn well. I ain't gonna say pretty damn good, but Canelo can speak English, and Mike Tyson got him to speak English, and Canelo understands English. I've been trying to tell people Canelo and Manny Pacquiao can speak better English than they let people believe. And Canelo spoke good enough English to where he understood what Mike Tyson was asking him. I told people this dude. Yeah, I've been telling people Canelo can speak English. You know? Like Manny Pacquiao can speak better English. All that. Manny Pacquiao can speak better English. I'm glad that Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. just stopped fronting. We knew he could speak English, and he used to front like he couldn't speak English that good. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., you see now he speaks perfect English. Now he do all his interviews in English. But Canelo is not gonna fight at 175 again. He said he's staying at 168. He's saying he's staying at 168. Okay, cool. I understand that. Because you know you better not try to go up to 168, try to fight Artur Beterbiev. I told you. Bivol, Artur Beterbiev, those dudes are too big for Canelo. And they hit too damn hard. Because I'm telling you now, Canelo ain't going 6 rounds with Artur Beterbiev. Artur Beterbiev will knock Canelo out. So all that stuff about Andre Ward, that was cap. And this came out of Canelo's mouth. If you think I'm lying, he said he's staying at 168. He said that's his weight class. That Sergey Kovalev thing, we already know what was up with that. We already knew what was the deal with that. Canelo ain't gonna fight Bivol. He not gonna fight Bivol. If Canelo, look, listen. For those who really watched that fight with Sergey Kovalev held back. Like I said, Canelo had a hard time with Sergey Kovalev's jab. Canelo really had difficult with Sergey Kovalev's jab. And when Sergey Kovalev threw a straight right and he landed flush on Canelo, he woke Canelo's stuff up. Canelo looked like, I cannot take too many of these. If Sergey Kovalev would have been actually allowed to fight, he would have stopped Canelo. I promise you, and I'm not no Sergey Kovalev fan. If Sergey Kovalev would have been really allowed to fight, if he wouldn't have took a dive, allegedly, he would have knocked Canelo out. And I'm just keeping it 100. And then you got some of these morons that actually think that Sergey Kovalev, excuse me, you got these morons that actually believe that Canelo could beat Andre Ward. When I say Andre Ward would seriously batter Canelo, it would be when I say you would see a no mercy Andre Ward, he'd be like them dudes on the first Karate Kid with that Cobra Kai stuff. When dude would be talking about no mercy. When I say Andre Ward would give Canelo a serious beating. He would give him a serious beating. I know you Canelo fans don't want to hear it, but I'm just telling y'all the truth. Live with it. Canelo can't beat no Andre Ward. When I say Andre Ward would curb stomp Canelo, he would curb stomp him. And anybody with common sense, no. Anybody with common sense, no. Anybody with common boxing sense, no. Andre Ward would curb stomp Canelo. He would beat the hell out of Canelo. So stop it. That's why he said he not moving up to 160. That's why he not moving up to 175. And the only way he would fight Andre Ward, he would weight drain him. He would put stipulation after stipulation. And if I'm Andre Ward, I wouldn't take it. When I say Andre Ward would whitewash Canelo, he'd whitewash him. Sometimes, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, sometimes you gotta be realistic. You gotta be realistic. Andre Ward is too big for Canelo. He too skilled for Canelo. Y'all think, let's get something straight. Andre Ward ain't no Yildirim or whatever his name is, and he damn sure ain't no Caleb Smith. This is Andre Ward, a fighter that retired undefeated. Like I said, if Canelo struggled against Sergey Kovalev, who had a hard time getting past his jab, Andre Ward beat Sergey Kovalev twice. Yeah, the first fight was controversial, but Andre Ward clearly made adjustments in the second fight, and he beat Sergey Kovalev clearly. Like I said, you got to stop being emotional. Yeah, and he, like I said, Canelo would quit on the stand. And Canelo know. That's why he said he ain't moving up to 175, because he know. And I'm just laughing. Stop thinking, and it's cool. I understand some of the Mexicans believe in Canelo like that, But that's some real false bravado. When I say Canelo would get his ass handed to him by Andre Ward, I mean he would get his ass handed to him. When I'm talking about, people would be like, I don't even know why this fight got made. I can tell you that's one fight Andre Ward was serious when he said, I dare Canelo to call my name out. He said, I dare Canelo to say he want to fight me. You see, Canelo ain't responded. And one thing about Andre Ward is a shrewd negotiator. Andre Ward ain't gonna let Canelo like manipulate him and weight pimp him and all that stuff. You know? Yeah, so I don't blame Canelo. Canelo know he'd get his ass whooped by Andre Ward. It's cool to have your Mexican pride, but your Mexican pride gonna see Canelo quit on the stands. I mean, see Canelo not come out of his chair. He gonna quit on his stool. When I say he gonna quit on his stool, he gonna quit on his stool. I mean, you can't even get Canelo to fight Demetrius Andrade. Okay? So what makes you think that he could beat Andre Ward? What makes you think he could beat Andre Ward? I know it's gonna be some people that's gonna come here talking a gang and stuff. That's okay, cool. I'll welcome it. Cause you got a false sense of hope. When I say Canelo gonna get his ass whooped by Andre Ward, worse than Floyd whooped Canelo's ass. Canelo gonna need all the mystery meat he can to beat Andre Ward, and it still ain't gonna help his ass. So, no, but nevertheless, let me move on right quick. Let me move on. I had to talk about that. All right, so once again, I'm yarning. Once again, Errol Spence is talking about, well, after I beat Ugas, we'll see who really wants to fight. Well, we know you really don't want to fight. We know you really don't want to fight. I'm just keeping it 100. Hey man, I'm past all this like being nice stuff, because I don't like the fans being manipulated. I don't like the people that follow boxing being manipulated. Like I said, Errol Spence could have fought Bud like 2 years ago. He could have fought Bud right after he beat Sean Porter, but unfortunately he got in that car accident. Let's just say he don't get in that car accident. He could have fought Bud sometime in, early 2019. You know what I'm saying? He could have fought him. I mean, for real. He had to. I'm just keeping it 100. He don't get hurt. He could have fought him sometime in 2019, and he could have fought him the early part of 2020. It's just always this baloney. And if he say that 80-20 or 70-30 shit or 60-40, he ain't really trying to make the fight. People got to be realistic here. I know Errol Spence's actions is suspect. I've been saying, like I told you guys, all the sanctioning bodies told me whose fault it is that the fight ain't happened. Back in 2019. My bad. Yeah, 2019, not 2018. Sorry, my bad. Back in 2019, back in December, when I went to cover Bud versus the Mean Machine, while all these other nut-hugging PBC apologists was sitting up lying to y'all, I was out there searching the truth, getting the truth, talking to everybody. I talked to the WBC. I talked to people from the WBA. I talked to people from the WBO. I talked to people from the IBF. And they all told me whose fault it was that the fight wasn't happening. And it wasn't a top ranked fighter. Like I said, people was just mad because I didn't follow their script. And that's all it came down to. Because I'm my own man at the end of the day. And then you had all these lying ass niggas sitting up here making shit up, didn't know what the hell they was talking about. I'm talking about straight up making shit up. And you know who these dudes are. You know who these dudes are. Like I said, a lot of these black media people are worse than the so-called white ones that they always calling out. Saying that they against black fighters. Well, a lot of these black media people are against the same black fighters that they pretend to support. I didn't know that you had to be signed to PBC to get support from black media. I didn't see that in the manual. I thought we were supposed to be for black fighters, period. That's what I thought black media was about. I thought we was trying to look out for our black fighters. Oh, I get it. Only if they affiliated with Al Heyman, a dude who really don't give a damn about black people himself. But all these people sitting up here kissing up to him and shit. And like I said, Al Heyman did some good, but like I said, this stuff that he doing now is whack. It's whack. You know, Teddy Atlas said something, and like I said, I don't always agree with Teddy Atlas, but I am gonna say some stuff that he did say that I am wholeheartedly and 100% agreement with. He was telling the absolute truth when he said it's the promoters, it's the managers being greedy, and these guys running their promotional companies like Farm Systems. Top Rank doing it, PBC is doing it, Matchroom is doing it. They treating their promotional companies like a AAA farm system, where they have the A fighters fighting a whole bunch of B's and A minus. Call them up from the minor leagues. We gonna put this B fighter in the ring with this A fighter. And then every once in a while, if we think we got an A minus fighter, we'll match him with our A fighter, and we'll sell a pay-per-view. That's what they all doing. And then maybe if the money is just so undeniable, then we'll see, can we match these guys up. At the end of the day, these dudes don't want their undefeated fighter to lose. Which, like I said, ain't nothing wrong with losing. That's all they want to do. I'm going to tell y'all right now, this is just the honest to God truth. This is the honest to God truth. You may see within the next 10 years, and this is just real talk, you may see a lot of fighters retire undefeated. It's going to be just like the NFL, where you got all these quarterbacks now, because due to the rule changes where they made it a pass happy league. That's why you got all these quarterbacks that then do for 40, 50,000 yards. But at the end of the day, they benefited from changing the rules. So at the end of the day, they still gonna be Hall of Fame quarterbacks. You got like Ben Roethlisberger that do for over 50,000 yards. Drew Brees that threw for like 70,000 yards. That was, for real, that was unheard of. Now you got quarterbacks randomly throwing for 50,000 yards. Back in the day, throwing for 40,000 yards, that was big. Joe Montana did it the hard way. But now you taking away the running game, and you got these quarterbacks flicking the ball. You know what I'm saying? Almost every play is a throwing play. There's no excitement to the game because they want all these 35 to 30 games in the NFL now. They don't want no more of those. They don't want no Super Bowls where teams scoring 17, winning 17 to 14. They don't want that shit no more. So that's why they made the NFL more offensive friendly in a pass happy league. Where now if you touch the quarterback, if you breathe on the damn quarterback, you got to roughen the passer. And that's what they doing with boxing. And that's unfortunate. You're going to have a whole bunch of the so-called A fighters fighting a whole bunch of B fighters or past their prime fighters, beating up on them, and then they're going to be talking about, yeah, I'm undefeated. So that's what's going to happen. I'm keeping it 100. Errol Spence may actually retire undefeated. Bud may retire undefeated. Teofimo Lopez may retire undefeated. Because you can't get them to fight the best fighters out there. See, I'm the only one that's willing to say that. Like I said, I have no ties to nobody. And people just mad at me because I don't be following no script. And they want me to be like all these other dudes. I'm not going to do that. And some people mad at me because I don't be sucking up the Errol Spence and the PBC. I'm not doing that. Because at the end of the day, Derrick James and them don't believe that Errol Spence, they ain't that fully sure that Errol Spence can beat Bud Crawford. I done heard Derrick James change his tune on several different interviews. One interview he's saying we gonna fight Bud, then we ain't ready for Bud. Oh, we ain't fighting Bud right now because he ain't got no storyline, but you fighting all these mediocre Hispanic fighters though. Okay, cool. Like I said, I don't give a damn about nobody being mad because I ain't saying what they want me to say. If I gotta stand on the island of my own, so be it. Now, here's something else that I'm very confused about. And I gotta get to this. And I appreciate my subs for bringing this to my attention. And I just found this out. I'm really, but once again, I talked about this. This is the same shit that Danny Garcia pulled. Everybody wants to complain about Bud, who he should fight, who he didn't fight, who he's supposed to be ducking. Once again, for you morons, and I'm going to say it, take it however you want, Bud is not ducking Shawn Porter. Shawn is not ducking him, but then I am confused about something that's going on with the Porter camp. Shawn still hasn't exercised his mandatory. So why is everybody coming down on Bud? Oh, he ain't really trying to fight Shawn Porter. Shawn ain't exercised his mandatory. Shawn has been the mandatory for like 6 months. Or actually longer than that. Shawn been the mandatory since like August. And it's March now. But once again, you have these morons who sit up there and listen to other people who put up propaganda videos about Bud and saying, oh, well, unfortunately, he got to fight Josito Lopez. Well, if Shawn won't exercise his mandatory, then, well, what choice do we have? So that don't make no sense. But then you had a lot of these dudes putting these propaganda videos that Bud ain't trying to fight Shawn Porter and he ducking. Like I said, it's kind of like, it's like a broken record. Now the people that's on this channel understand what's going on. So why are we coming down on Bud if Shawn haven't exercised his mandatory? And sometimes I wonder if Kenny and Shawn is on the same page. I know Kenny want the damn fight. Kenny did told me on several occasions, Kenny want the fight. But at the end of the day, it's up to Shawn. Kenny can't go in there and fight for Shawn. Shawn has to get trained by Kenny. Kenny did told me, look, man, I didn't watch tapes of Bud. I got the perfect. Kenny did told me I know how we can beat Bud. So I'm trying to figure out, like, I'm just trying to figure out why is everybody coming down on Bud when Shawn ain't exercised his mandatory. He hasn't sent in his paperwork yet. And he said that out of his own mouth. But that's what happens when you get these people that put out these BS videos. that don't know what they be talking about. They don't never tell you the full story, but they'll make it look like, oh, Bud is not trying to fight Sean. Oh, yes, he is. And then they'll say, oh, Bud would rather fight Josito Lopez than Sean. Man. So like I said, I'm confused. Why are we even having this conversation if this man won't even exercise his, like, for real? All he got to do is this. Look, Kenny is his manager. All Kenny got to do is call the WBO and say, hey, send us the paperwork. We want the mandatory. And then they ordered, what they do is they contact Bud and say, hey, Sean has exercised his right to being the mandatory. Okay, so now you got to start negotiating with Sean. Yeah, I know that, Neutral. That's the real plan. All right, was what? Let me tell you what's going on behind the scenes. What's probably going on behind the scenes is probably Alden contacted. He might, now I'm just speculating. He might have contacted Sean and said, okay, don't take the Bud fight. Don't take the Bud fight. We'll get you a fight with somebody else. You win that fight, we'll get you the Errol Spence. We'll get you the Errol Spence fight. What we'll do is, after Errol beats Ugas, we'll basically, come with some ridiculous demands. We'll come with, we'll use the reverse psychology with Bud to say Bud don't want to take this type of money and Bud need to take this. They're going to basically try to lowball Bud. They're going to lowball Bud with that ridiculous 80-20 shit or 70-30. Or, look, at the end of the day, it should be 50-50. They both undefeated fighters. That's it. That's all. I'm not, and I do not blame Bud for standing on his square. And that's just real talk. This ain't about being no Bud nut hugger like people accuse me of doing. But it's funny when I talk about Matchroom, when I talk about Bob Arum, then all of a sudden people get quiet. I'm not on nobody's side. And that's what's gonna happen. He may fight Sean Porter, he may win, or he may lose. And then he gonna move up. He gonna move up to 154. And then what's gonna happen is all the other guys, Charlo is gonna move up to 160. Jarrett Hurd, Charlo, they all gonna move up to 160. And then Errol Spence gonna be selected at who he fight at 154. And then it'll continue. And then what's gonna happen is then you're gonna have a scramble for the WBC and then the IBF. And then what's gonna happen is the same thing gonna happen. He may fix it to where once again Danny Garcia and Keith Thurman get the fight for a belt, or Danny Garcia and Sean Porter get the fight for a belt, or Keith Thurman and Sean Porter get the fight for a belt. And then neither one of them is gonna fight Bud. So I'm just telling you what's gonna happen. Yeah, I know there's some people that's listening to this podcast that's mad, because that's what's gonna happen. That's what's gonna happen. And people don't want to hear the truth. That's what's gonna, I promise y'all, that's what's probably gonna happen. Not yet. I promise you that's what's gonna happen. Cause like I said, they could have been made the Bud. Like if you get the Bud fight out the way, you already got 3 belts, and then you could get and then you could get Ugas. And then they gave Ugas and let's be honest, do Ugas really deserve the WBA belt? I'm just keeping it 100. So I'm just telling y'all what's gonna probably happen. Even Teddy Atlas saying, I don't believe that fight gonna happen, because at the end of the day, everybody want to have they version of Floyd Mayweather, but then they ain't Floyd Mayweather. And see, this is the trickle effect of post Floyd Mayweather. Everybody wants to have the new Floyd Mayweather. Everybody want to take the Floyd Mayweather route, or they think they Floyd Mayweather, and that's the problem. And then as far as Manny Pacquiao go, Manny Pacquiao is out of the equation. Manny Pacquiao is gonna fight Mikey Garcia, and then he may take another light touch, and then that's gonna be it. Or depending on how much money he can get for this Mikey Garcia fight, that may be Manny Pacquiao's last fight. If Mikey Garcia can get Manny Pacquiao maybe $25 million, then that may be Manny's last fight. Manny Pacquiao is going to be 43 in December. Manny can't keep going. That's just the honest to God truth. If Manny keep fighting, Manny is going to seriously get hurt. Okay? We already knew he wasn't going to fight Crawford. Manny then had 4 years to fight Crawford, and he don't want the damn fight. He didn't want the fight. He never wanted to fight because it's too risky of a fight for him. And once again, Manny Pacquiao didn't want to, get beat up in front of his fans, because Bud would have beat Manny Pacquiao up and beat him bad. Bud would have stopped Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao know it, Freddie Roach know it, and deep down inside, his fans knew it. That's why they kept saying Manny don't have to fight Bud. He earned the right not to fight Bud. All this stuff about investors and all this kind of stuff, it was drag. It was drag from the gate, and people and most people knew it. I knew that it wasn't really no deal in place. That's why Bud then decided to move on. But like I said, at the end of the day, what can you do if you can't get nobody to sign the contract? What can you do if you can't get nobody to exercise their mandatory? So I don't understand. I'm confused about what's taking Sean so long to exercise his mandatory. All he has to do is turn the paper in. I hope not. So I'm just confused. It ain't my job, like I said. I'm just confused about what's going on between Sean and Kenny. I'm just like for real. They don't seem to be on the same page. You've been hearing things about Sean asking for too much money, all that kind of stuff. So you just been hearing a whole bunch of stuff going on behind the scenes. But like I said, at the end of the day, you can't do nothing unless you exercise your mandatory. Once again, Danny Garcia was the mandatory. He could have fought Bud. He chose to fight Adrian Granados. And everybody keep throwing up this stuff, but well, Amir Khan got six million. He got 6 million. Why couldn't Danny Garcia get 6 million? Why did Danny Garcia take 1.2 to fight Adrian Granados? Nobody wants to talk about that. And I don't believe, I'm just going to be honest with you, I don't believe Amir Khan got 6 million. I believe that's a number that he threw out there. That's a number that Bob Arum threw out there, to make it look like Amir Khan got paid so much money. Amir Khan probably, in actual reality, he probably got about $2 million. Because Bud got about $3 million for that fight. So how did Amir Khan make more money than Bud? So if Amir Khan made, or let's just for argument's sake. So if Amir Khan got like 6 million, then Bud must have got what, about 8? Hey, what's up, Coco? What's going on? So that's what I'm putting in retrospective. Nobody else. Once again, these is questions that nobody wants to answer. Nobody wants to talk about that. Nobody wants, but I don't believe Amir Khan got no $6 million. Because if that's the case, that means you would have had to pay Bud about 8. I heard Bud got like about 3 or some change. So I believe that was just a number they threw out there. Probably, like I said, if Danny was gonna get 3, Bud probably would have got 4 or got 5. They would have put, now I'll put it to you this way, Danny Garcia would have sold probably more tickets. He would have sold more tickets in Madison Square Garden than Amir Khan would have, because, well, New York, Puerto Rico. Then not to mention, New York City is about an hour and 20-minute drive without no traffic from Philly. So Danny Garcia probably would have made probably close to $4 million. He would have did better pay-per-views. And he turned it down to go fight Adrian Granados for $1.2 million. Because once again, like I said, Al don't want to do no business with Bob Arum. Nobody wants to answer that question. Like I said, but you guys sit up here listening to these other dudes who, like I said, just, had their ass up, up the PBC, had their heads up PBC's ass to where they just be throwing shit out there. And they do it for views and all that type of stuff. I don't make, as you guys know, whenever I do a video, I don't have no catchy titles. I just say whatever the subject is. I could do that stuff. Like I said, let's be honest. Amir Khan didn't get no $6 million. Keep in mind, Bob Arum, quote unquote, say he lost money on that fight. Like I said, I believe Amir Khan probably got 2 and some change, because Bud got 3 and some change for that fight. Remember, Bud is guaranteed $3 million per fight. So how in the hell is Amir Khan gonna get $6 million? How is he gonna get more than Bud? It was cap, it was bullshit, and y'all find it out the truth. Like I said, they just don't want to make the damn fight. Al Heyman do not want to give he don't want to give Bob Arum his so-called, I'm not gonna call him thoroughbreds, I'll call him his upper echelons. They had that fight. They had Bud versus they had Bud versus Amir Khan in Madison Square Garden. And Danny Garcia fought Adrian Granados on the same day. Because remember, I covered that fight. I covered the Adrian Granados Danny Garcia fight. It was at the whatever it's called now. They keep changing the name. It was at the Home Depot Center in Carson. Which, by the way, that's way out there. That's way out the way. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be honest. Here's the thing about Bob Arum. Sometimes you need to take a loss to to make a gain. And Bob Arum is talking like he just like Bud is about to put him in the poorhouse. Bob Arum is worth $200 million. Al Heyman is worth a lot of money. See, what you guys don't understand, the Shawn Porter fight, the reason why they want Shawn Porter to take a certain amount, they feel like they feel like they may not be able to sell that fight on pay-per-view. Or if they sell it on pay-per-view, they don't want to lose money paying a max salary to Shawn Porter. But I think Bud and Shawn could do some decent numbers. Shawn has fought very well. I think they honestly, if they have the fight in Vegas, I think if they have that fight at a discount, if they don't charge like no $75, I think if they have that fight at like maybe $59.99, maybe maybe $50, I think it'll do better numbers, and I think they'll still turn a profit. And then if you put it in Las Vegas, and Las Vegas is at 60% like they say they going to, and if you want to try to capitalize and make max amount, put that at the Raiders Stadium, at the football stadium, put it at Allegiant Stadium, then you can sell max amount of tickets. So 60% at a stadium that sells like that holds like 65,000, you could get 30,000 up in there. So you can sell 30,000 tickets, and you can sell them for a regular price, and you still can make some money. See, if they listen to me, if they listen to me, you know what I'm saying? If they listen to me, this fight can get put together. You put the fight at the football stadium. Okay? You put the fight at the football stadium. You put it on pay-per-view for like $50, no more than $59. You could throw some people like Dog Bay or some people like that on there. You could throw some what's that Mexican dude's name? I forgot his name. You could just throw some people on there. You could throw Iffy Ajaba on there. You know, people that you ain't gonna have to pay a whole bunch of money, but then you could put them in some decent fights. It won't really be about like making some marquee fights, but like your up and coming fighters. You could put Iffy Ajaba in there with a tomato can. You could put what's that dude's name? You can find somebody for Isaac Dogbay to fight. You could possibly find Richard Comey. For real. You might even could throw Lomachenko. You might could even throw Lomachenko in there against a tomato can. And then you could like, you know what I'm saying? You could make a max amount of money, a decent amount of money. Because you trying to sell a fight for like $79.99, not right now. I know these stimulus checks is rolling out, but I don't think people want to spend $70-$80 on a fight. But if you have it at a discount, yeah. But then I think another thing they worried about, let's just say PBC don't want Bud versus Shawn Porter, and they go to a first bid. Bob Arum is scared that Triller is going to pop up again, because they came out of nowhere and scooped up Teofimo Lopez. So they scared that's going to happen. So it's a lot of things that stand in the way. Real talk. A lot of things standing in the way of progress, our so-called progress. So I'm just telling y'all the truth. I'm just confused about the whole Shawn Porter thing. So I'm just keeping it a buck. But anyway, it's your boy Town Biz. I'm out.